What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video. And today, doing something very special. That is a Panthers off-season and 2 mock drafts. Yeah, because obviously there's a big decision on what happens at pick number 6. And I wanted to make sure that we actually addressed both scenarios. So if you guys love the draft, feel free to stay around, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys love the Panthers, I'll be redoing this after free agency because it's kind of part of the off-season part of this. But yeah, feel free to stick around. Would love to talk to you guys down in the comments section, Discord, Twitter, all that stuff. Links in the description. Let's kick into this. Starting off with the key departures. Not everybody is departing, but some of the key guys. Stephon Gilmore, along with Dante Jackson. I want to talk about these two guys first. A lot of people think that they'll be brought back, or one of them at least. And I'll just say this. This is not just the Panthers community. This is the NFL community in general. This idea that if you can re-sign them, you probably will, and that these players don't get to choose where they want to go. Like Stephon Gilmore, Dante Jackson have the right to be able to say, I want to go elsewhere. I want to be able to compete for a championship immediately, be able to go to a team where the head coach isn't on the hot seat, who did not just bring in Ben McAdoo. So let's also hope Ben McAdoo can go back to when he made like Eli and Odell Beckham Jr., like an amazing duo there. But I think that people forget the choice of the player rather than just the choice of the team. Now, would I hope that Dante Jackson would be brought back? Probably. I mean, I like Keith Taylor as a guy who could be a nice corner 3, corner 2, and he was a late 2 in my books last year. So happy to see that he's panning out, doing well enough. Obviously, you got JC Horn coming back from injury, guy's a stud, and you got CJ Henderson. So I don't think you need to be able to spend big money here because I think Dante Jackson and Stephon Gilmore are going to be earning some high dollar because, again, they are very talented corners. Matt Paradis, I think you need to do everything you can in your power to bring him back, unless you're going to address other positions that you would address with that number 6 pick and just say either we're going to trade back or go after Tyler Linderbaum. He's my number 3 graded player of the class. I love him. Then you got Cam Newton. You know, obviously he actually played some starting quarterback snaps this year, and I don't think that you should re-sign him. He's an expensive target, and honestly, I just don't think that he's valuable enough to be able to bring back. Hassan Reddick, I think that you should keep him with Matt Rule. I believe that was his college coach there at Temple, and I really liked Hassan Reddick, and I thought that bringing him over here was a brilliant idea. Obviously, he might be getting more, like, don't look at the duration and amount as like something that's serious. It's just for fun, honestly. Then yeah, you guys can of course tweak it because we don't know exactly how much they're going to make. But Hassan, if he can get back in the mold of being a high-end pass rusher, I thought this defense could be the best in the NFL. Like when you look at the pieces there, they have a very, very solid defense, especially before you lost guys like Daquan Jones, Hassan Reddick, as well as the 2 corners that we talked about before. But we could talk about some potential trades and cuts. I've heard, not saying Christian McCaffrey should be traded, but I've heard that he's in the news of being traded. And honestly, I would love to see him play more of a running back / slot receiver role because he's such a good talent. And I'm tired of seeing him get injured and run down. I mean, if you get him for 2 first-round picks, I think that's worth it, especially since next year we're going to have some amazing running backs be coming out. Like, you don't need to continue to, I mean, if you could flip him for 2 first-round picks, that'd be incredible. Morgan Fox and Robbie Anderson both have some pretty nasty contracts that you can free up some cash from. Again, it's just a way. You're 17 million like over with a cap, or was it under the cap? Whatever, you're in the black right now. You're not in the red. So you guys don't have to worry about having to cut dudes. But if you actually want to make some room, those are 2 guys who could definitely free up some cash. And let's talk about some fun offseason targets here. I'm just going to skip down to the 4th dude here, whose image is right in front of you. I love Tyler Huntley. He's up for a contract this year. I think that he should go out and get paid, and this is a perfect spot for him to test it out. Obviously, if he comes to this team, which you guys will see in the mock draft what will happen, if they end up bringing him on, you can go offensive line and be able to, you already have a good enough receiver base. You have CMC, and then again, with a built offensive line, I think Tyler Huntley could be a stud. There was not much of a beat missed from Lamar Jackson to Tyler Huntley. He was in almost every single game that he played, down to the wire, even against Aaron Rodgers. So I think he's a stud. If you can get him for 20 mil a year, I would do that in a heartbeat. Again, really good player. I love him. Justin Reed as well, another guy where you only have really one safety. So like it's Jeremy Chin, who's freaking amazing. But I think Justin Reed would be a phenomenal safety too there. Melvin Ingram, if you can't bring back Hassan Reddick, that'd be a very good veteran option. And I think he'd fit the role pretty well. Eric Fisher to be left tackle again. It depends on which route you want to go with that number one or that first round pick. And then Steven Nelson, bringing in a veteran would not be too shabby to help coach guys in case of injury as well. Just a guy you can target. But that is going to be the main part of this video. Now it's time for you guys to see what you really have been waiting for, the mock drafts. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys then. Welcome in, everybody. This time, this mock draft is going to be a little different, a little special. So you guys are actually giving something that probably only 2 or 3 teams, maybe, I haven't obviously calculated out, are going to be getting in this type of sub-series. That is going to be 2 mock drafts, because I think that regardless of the rest of this, you guys are heavily influenced by the number 6 overall pick. And whether that's a tackle, whether that's a quarterback, that's going to totally change how you do the rest of the draft. So for me, I also tried to assume that Tyler Huntley would be on there. So if we do the tackle one, that's going to be assuming Tyler Huntley is the quarterback, because I do think that he would be an amazing fit. He's pretty much PJ Walker, but a lot better and a lot younger. And I've been a big fan of Tyler Huntley since he came out. I think he was like my number 9 quarterback at that draft class, and I loved him. I thought he was a high floor player, and he was just someone who I really, really liked, and I'm happy he decided to pan out. So let's kick into this. Let's have a little bit of fun. Yeah, drop that like button, comment, and subscribe, of course, because I like to give you guys some preferential treatment. And let's see who is here at this pick, because it's unfair to think that Ikem Ekwonu is going to be here in one of these mocks. That is going to be the unfortunate consequence. But honestly, this one, we are going to do the quarterback one, because I might leave hope that Ikem might actually fall to us in the other one. So when you look at the quarterbacks here, who's going to buy the most amount of time for Matt Rule? Is it going to be Kenny Pickett? He could be the best day one. Matt Corral, I don't think he's worth the top 6 pick. I don't think any of these quarterbacks are, for the record. And no, we don't do trades. That's just the way it rolls. That's part of the series. If you guys are new here, we don't do trades because it's too RNG. So if I restart this, the trades would be completely different. You can say the same about the mock draft machine in general in terms of the players, but there's a certain level where you have to say, stop, I don't like doing the trades. But I would still consider trading back here. We're not going to do that. Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett, to me, are the guys to take here. Sam Howell definitely could be somebody. Again, he played in the Carolinas, so would not be a bad idea. But I'm going to go Malik Willis here out of Liberty. Again, somebody who offers so much. He can be a real day one impact for you guys. And he could also just really offer something special in terms of his legs and his crazy arm talent. You know, he has some accuracy inconsistencies, as does every quarterback in this class. He also has some decision-making inconsistencies. Let me say it again, as does every quarterback in this class. And this is a guy who just, again, he has that ceiling that is different. You don't get to see somebody with his talent level very often. So I think that's going to be a phenomenal option for the team. Again, he just brings a lot of oomph to the table. He brings excitement back to the Panthers. And yeah, Sam Darnold was acquired for a 2nd round pick. And again, you could just decide not to go quarterback this year, because maybe next year you like the prospects more. But I think that when you look at Matt Rule, if he sticks with Sam Darnold this year, there's a good chance that he's not going to be making it to the next season. It's just true. And it's unfortunate to say that, because obviously I wanted Matt Rule to pan out. When you looked at the team this year, I mean, the offensive line was a little suspect, but you know, it's not like Bengals bad. And you see how the Bengals performed this year, but you look at the quarterback, it's like, okay, Sam Darnold has a new beginning, and he has Robbie Anderson again. And the wide receiver room looks spectacular. Running back, obviously CMC is phenomenal. And then you look at the defense, and there's stars everywhere. And then you get Stephon Gilmore in there as well, CJ Henderson. I just don't know what else could have been different except the quarterback and maybe some offensive linemen. So that's really unfortunate because, again, when you look at the graphics, and you guys can scroll back to that portion of the video, those aren't even all the guys who are up for a free agent contract. And this team isn't loaded with like 70 mil of free cap space, right? Like they're not going to be spending like Jaguars are. At the same time, I mean, it really sucks. It really does suck. You know, when you have that many guys up for a contract, you need to watch out. Unfortunately, we've already taken Max Mitchell because I would definitely consider him here as well. However, we still have some phenomenal interior offensive linemen that I think would work really well with this team. And again, you can go after any of these guys. I like Ed Ingram a lot, but I think Alec Lindstrom's ability to play guard or center is a big plus. And he's a guy who, honestly, he's worth a 3rd-round pick. So bringing him on, because we usually try to assume that the players that I say should be re-signed are going to, but even if we re-sign Matt Paradis, which I think would be a brilliant idea, Lindstrom could still play guard at a very high level. And I really do see him being a good impact on this roster. So definitely somebody who should be a big impact, because that guard position was really bad this year, really bad. So offering potentially Brady Christensen another shot at left tackle and having Malik Willis there, who didn't have a good offensive line anyways, along with Alec Lindstrom, I think that's a really good way to start this draft. You have to build that side because, unfortunately, it's not going to be that good for you guys if you guys decide to neglect the offensive line again. So we'll see what we do with the rest of this draft. For me personally, I think maybe getting another edge rusher wouldn't be a bad idea. You know, there's not many holes on this roster, and it's kind of weird. It is kind of weird. I'm gonna go Michael Clemens here out of Texas A&M. I think he's a guy who can make an instant impact on this roster and somebody who just brings a lot of power to his game. I don't think the interior defensive line is as bad as people think. You know, again, you got Brown there, who should be taking his game to the next level. It's unfortunate that he hasn't, but I honestly might get Haskell Garrett here. We might go defensive line. That wouldn't be a bad idea. You could go corner. I'm going to hold out hope that either one of the corners resigns, or we can do well enough with Keith Taylor, who was a big guy of mine last year. I love Keith Taylor. So I just don't like the tackles on the board right now. Kellen Dyche, I'm pretty sure I already took for this division. And if you guys also are kind of new, I don't like to take the same players multiple times over in the same division. It just doesn't make sense for me. When you get someone like Haskell Garrett, though, I like that a lot. Very good pass rusher from the interior. Just continuing to generate pressure is going to be key in this division. That's going to be losing Teron Armstead. They're going to be losing. Obviously the Falcons' offensive line isn't great. The Buccaneers, they have a pretty good offensive line, but you might be even losing Ryan Jensen on that squad. So there's a lot to uncover here. Another guy who I like is Neal Farrell, and then also maybe they added him in. I'm trying to find him. I totally forgot where he was. But there's an interior defensive lineman that I absolutely loved at the Senior Bowl. He had some very high-end reps, and I'm forgetting his name. It's something Johnson, I think. And he definitely deserves a lot of love. For a late-round pick, the guy he did some phenomenal plays. I was like, wow, like this guy is not being talked about at all. He's playing very well against NFL-level talent. So definitely something that I would want to go after. You know, we could try out on a tackle right now. But I don't think that's the best move. Maybe going after a tight end wouldn't be bad. I think that would be a good move. Looking at the guys, I'm going to go Peyton Hendershot out of Indiana here. I do like Peyton Hendershot quite a bit. And I'm pretty sure that Ian Thomas, who's up for a contract, actually, he was from Indiana as well. So we're going to continue the train, even though it didn't work last time. I think they still very solid. But getting someone of his caliber, far from something that I'd be against. This next spot, you might want to go after someone like Dontario Drummond or Bo Melton just to add another extra receiver in there. Emeka Mezi, not a bad option either. I do like all of those. So definitely got to keep our eyes out on that. DJ Matthews, another really good player. How interesting. I don't even know who this is. Dareke Young, Lenore Ryan. Interesting. I haven't seen him. That doesn't mean he's not good, but probably the chances are he's not going to make a team. But yeah, Dontario Drummond, someone who I'm going to take for this roster, pretty solid blocker as well. Just for someone in the 7th round, you think about how Shi Smith might impact a roster. He was somebody who I had like a 6th round grade on, which everybody thought was crazy. It's like, dude, he's going to go in the 3rd. He fell. But Dontario Drummond might be going a lot higher than this. So that's going to be the draft, guys. We got our quarterback. We got our offensive line of the future. Obviously, some good edge rushers in there as well as the defensive front. Tight end wise, we got a good backup tight end and Dontario Drummond, good situational pass rusher. But that's going to be all for this portion. Let's go into round mock part 2. Y'all know what time it is. It's time to get that offensive line mock draft. Let's do it. Right now, we are going to be assuming that Tyler Huntley is the quarterback of this team. Now we get, oh my God, did he actually? Oh, you bitch. Sorry for the language. Freaking Giants. Bastards. Okay, well, we don't get to have the love of going after Ikem Ekwonu. Would we go after KT in this situation? No. Again, this would be a spot to trade out. We don't do trades if you guys haven't been listening at all. Charles Cross is going to be the guy. Again, got to go with that left tackle there. Got to solidify that position. And again, you can use Brady Christensen as a guard or a tackle replacement if someone gets injured. It's not saying that Brady Christensen's done for good, but it definitely kind of writes off the chances of that happening. So we'll see. Again, Charles Cross had 600 pass reps over the past 2 seasons, which is huge. I think it's far more than any other prospect in this class at the tackle position. So definitely something to keep our eyes open about. It's definitely going to be an interesting scenario depending on what goes on in free agency. So I'm very excited to see what happens and how this draft is going to unfold, because right now we're getting lucky. Again, Charles Cross could have went at number 5, and I could have probably had to redo this entire mock draft. Wouldn't take that long, but it's still very annoying. I don't like to ever redo a mock draft. That's not fun. And even right now, I'm just going to give a spoiler alert. I'm debating on redoing the mock draft that I'm doing right now because I didn't like my Jets trade that moved up. And you guys didn't either. The Jets fans did not like that, even though you Panthers fans loved the idea that the pick we gave up for Sam Darnold is actually returning to the team. But regardless, again, we have another pick coming up soon. Obviously, I could have just decided to say, hey, we'll see you in a second and just stitch it, but it's not as fun. Not as fun for me to go through even more editing because it gets to be a little bit of a pain. Oh, why couldn't Tyler Smith fall? No, that kills me inside. Regardless, we're gonna decline all this. If we end up losing Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall at this point would be an absolute stud, right? I would love him to death. Regardless, that's not going to be on the table. I would still look at a guard because it's never bad to do that. Quarterback, not too shabby either. Wide receiver, you could go after Jalen Tolbert to be a good backup. Again, I don't think that's very good utilization of your assets. I would definitely be looking for Wanye Thomas. That's somebody who I'm going to be targeting with our next pick. So just a look into the future right there. We're going to go Sam Williams out of Ole Miss here. Somebody's a very talented edge rusher. We probably will be losing Hassan Reddick. It's unfortunate, but Sam Williams coming off a pretty damn solid year at Ole Miss. Definitely somebody who by the 4th round should be taken. I have him as a 2nd round graded player. That being said, probably will slip to the 3rd. So it's not impossible to see him here. And hopefully we have a 4th round pick. I'm bugging to remember whether we did. And we should. We definitely should. Probably don't. And that's probably my fault. But regardless, we already took our 4th round pick. Wow. TDN's going to TDN. And same thing with me. So, if we get someone like Jesse Luketa, that would have been awesome. Obviously, he goes to an in-division rival, which hurts even more. But now we're at the spot where Donovan West should be this pick. He should be. Again, another guy who could play guard or center. And I'm not going to assume that we're going to be able to bring back our center, Matt Paradis. So I think that it's a good choice to be able to bring on Donovan West to the squad and make sure that our offensive line is stable. Now, at this point, you could go Terrell Bernard. I like to just go after the best player available, but I do know that we have 3 safeties pretty much on roster, and one of them being starter quality. Wanye Thomas has been an absolute monster. I really do like him. I think that he's worth a 5th, if not a 4th, if not a 3rd round pick. He has the good size, has good speed, and I'm pretty sure he's had multiple 100-yard plus touchdowns. So the guy offers some really, really good things to this franchise. So very excited to see that. Could we have waited to the next pick for him? Probably, but it's not really fun to do that. Like, it makes it feel a little more authentic when we actually go from the spot that I think he should go. Unfortunately, if it were fully up to me, if I do all this, I would be definitely going after like Thayer Mumford in this case too. Just, I like to build up in the offensive line, but at this point, I would still look at a backup quarterback again, since we know that the deal is not fully sealed on Tyler Huntley. We don't know if he's going to be an official like stud for this team. Getting a quarterback as a backup option might not be too shabby. But at this point, I think getting Micah McFadden might not be a bad choice. Again, you don't need it, but it is the best player available by a good margin. And again, when you look at everybody on the board, I'm just not a fan of, honestly, how this draft is falling, because we're pretty much getting Brock Purdy and Micah McFadden as the guys who are available to us. And I'm 100% just going to continue choosing the best player available. We have some bigger contracts up there in the linebacker room anyways. So I think that is going to be a good spot to continue to target. Again, this team on paper should be amazing. So I think that maybe going after and just getting the right pieces might be the final nail in the coffin, or else the coach is up for he's up for cutting. So yeah, it's unfortunate because I really wanted Matt Rule to be that guy. Brock Purdy certainly is going to be my next pick if we have one. I don't think we did have a 7th round pick, which is unfortunate, but Brock Purdy certainly is somebody who I would love on my roster. Please say, oh, don't do this to me. Don't. They're going to take it right before too. Oh no. Yay. Awesome. Yeah, Brock Purdy's going to be the guy. I think he has some elite level plays, and bringing him onto this roster, even with a quarterback, again, it's a 7th round pick, guys. Most of these guys don't even make the roster. So that's going to be a very good spot to go. So again, also the shortness of this draft helps a lot. But yeah, getting a star left tackle, center, edge, safety, like all these guys could actually start probably besides these last two. And that's great. That's great. I love it. But let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the far side. Peace.